1. Introduction. My name is Stacy. I am 18 years old. My world feels very small. I live with my mother and father in a quiet town. Here, everything seems planned. Everything has rules. My father likes rules a lot. He believes they keep me safe. My mother always looks at my clothes before I go out. She wants me to look proper. I am their only child. They often tell me they do these things because they love me very much. But sometimes their love feels like a cage. I feel like I am trapped inside it. I want to open the door and walk out, but I cannot. Every day, I spend many hours studying. I want to get good grades in all my subjects. My parents want me to go to a very good college. They say I need to be perfect in everything I do. They want me to follow all the rules at home and at school. They want me to be a perfect student, but inside, I do not want only this. I want something very different. I want to be free. I want to have real experiences, not just read about them in books. I want to feel new things like excitement and adventure. My life feels like a book with only one story, and someone else is writing it. I want to write my own story. I often look out my window at the world outside. Other people seem to have more freedom than me. They can go to new places with friends. They can meet new people. They can make their own choices about their day. My choices are always made for me by my parents. My future also feels planned for me, like a path already drawn. I wish for something to change in my life. I wish for a different kind of life, a life with surprises. But I do not know how this can happen. I am always at home or at school. My parents watch me very closely. One day, my parents decided I needed extra help with math. My grades in math were already good, but they wanted them to be perfect. So they told me they would hire a private tutor to come to our house. I did not want a tutor. I already studied a lot. I thought it would just mean more rules, more books, and more time stuck inside my room. I did not know that this new person, this tutor, would change everything for me. I did not know that my small, quiet world was about to become much bigger and more interesting. His name was Greg. He was coming to my house to teach me math. I had no idea how much more he would teach me about life. 2. The new tutor. Greg was 24 years old. He was a university student in his last year. Every afternoon, he came to our house. He was always calm and confident. His smile made me feel a little nervous, but also interested. His voice was soft, but also strong. When he explained math, his eyes looked serious and focused. He always seemed very sure of himself. He was very different from the boys I knew at school. Those boys often talked loudly or made jokes. Greg was quiet. He listened carefully when I spoke. He never laughed if I said something wrong or made a mistake. When he smiled, I sometimes forgot all about the numbers and equations. It was hard to focus on my books then. At the beginning, I tried to act like a normal student. I took many notes. I asked questions about the math problems, but inside, I felt different. Every time he moved closer to show me something on the paper, my heart started to beat very fast. It was a strange and new feeling. I found myself watching him more than my math book. I thought about his calm way of speaking. I thought about the way he listened to me so carefully. It was new and surprising. I had never met anyone like him before in my small world. His presence felt different in our quiet house. One day, Greg told me something personal about his life. He said he was teaching because he needed extra money. This money was for his last semester at university. He looked down when he said it, a little shy. It seemed he did not like to talk about needing money. This made me feel a connection to him. When I heard this, a new feeling grew inside me. I wanted to help him. I wanted to know more about him, not just about math. I wanted to know everything about his life. His life seemed more real and exciting than my own planned world. I thought about him often, even when he was not there. My studies seemed less important than knowing more about Greg. I felt a strong wish to understand who he was. This new tutor was slowly changing my quiet world in a way I did not expect. It felt like my world was getting bigger because of him. 3. A different day. It was a Saturday. My mother was not home and my father was at work. I had some time alone. I looked in my closet. I wanted to wear something special for Greg. I found my favorite dress. It was light blue with small white flowers. I put it on. Then I stood in front of the mirror. I brushed my hair many times. I also put on a little lipstick. I did not often wear lipstick. I was not sure why I was doing all this. Maybe I wanted Greg to see me differently, not just as a girl who needed help with math. I wanted him to see me as a young woman. My heart felt a little fast. I waited for him to arrive. Soon, Greg came. He knocked on the door. I opened it. When he saw me, his eyes stopped for a moment. He looked at my dress. Then he smiled. His smile was soft. "You look nice today," he said. His voice was a little softer than usual. My face felt warm. I looked down quickly. I pretended to open my math notebook. But my mind was not on numbers. I could not write anything. My hand stayed still. That day was different. We did not study math for a long time. We started to talk about other things. We talked about books we liked. We talked about our dreams. Greg told me about his plans after college. He spoke about a city where he wanted to live. He also spoke about the kind of job he hoped to find. His words made me think about my own future. His voice made me feel new dreams, too. I told him a little about my thoughts. It felt easy to share with him. He listened carefully. He did not judge my ideas. It was a good feeling. We talked for a long time. The math books stayed closed on the table. The time passed quickly. When the lesson finished, Greg stood up to leave. He gave me a small smile. "See you next week," he said. After he left, I touched my hair. I still felt warm inside. I smiled. I knew something new had started. This day felt different from all the other days. A connection was beginning to grow between us. It was more than just a student and a tutor. This feeling was new and strong. I looked forward to seeing him again. I wondered what we would talk about next time. This day had opened a new door for me. A quick kiss. The next week, Stacy could not stop thinking about Greg. Her feelings for him grew very strong, too strong to hide. She counted the hours until he came to her house again. Her heart felt both heavy and happy. It was hard to focus on her schoolwork. She knew her feelings were too big to keep hidden much longer. It was a rainy afternoon when it happened. The room was quiet, with only the sound of rain on the window. Greg was explaining a math problem. Stacy was looking at him, watching his hands as he talked. She felt a strong pull towards him. She did not think about what she was doing. She just stood up. Stacy walked a few steps closer to Greg. She leaned in and kissed him quickly. Greg stopped moving. He froze for a moment. His eyes looked surprised. "Stacy, no," he whispered. His voice was soft, but his words were clear. "You shouldn't do that. It is wrong." Stacy's heart beat very fast. His words hurt her deeply. She stepped back quickly. Her face felt hot with shame. She looked down at the floor, unable to meet his eyes. "I am so sorry," she said. Her voice was small. She felt very bad. Greg stood up and walked slowly toward the door. He did not look angry, but he looked serious. Before he left the room, he stopped. He looked at Stacy one more time. His voice was gentle when he spoke. "You are too young to play with this kind of fire," he said softly. Then he opened the door and left. The room felt empty without him. Stacy stood for a long moment, then slowly sat down on the floor. Tears came to her eyes, and she started to cry. Her heart felt broken and full of sadness. She thought about his words. He said it was wrong. She wondered if he would come back for her next lesson. She was afraid he would not return. She knew her feelings were real. Everything felt like it was ending. 5 new feelings. For 2 days, Greg did not come. Stacy felt very sad and worried. She thought about the kiss. She thought about his words. She thought he would never come back. Her heart felt heavy. She looked out the window often. She waited for his car. On the 3rd day, Greg came. Stacy saw his car. Her heart beat fast. She opened the door for him. He looked at her. She looked at him. They did not say anything about what happened before. They acted like it was a normal day. Greg opened his math book. He started to talk about numbers. Stacy tried to listen, but it was hard. The air in the room felt different. It was thick with unspoken words. Every time Greg looked at Stacy, she felt a strange warmth. Every time he spoke, his voice seemed softer. They tried to be normal, but they could not. The feeling between them was strong. It was like a new kind of energy. Slowly, they started to change their small rules. Stacy moved her chair a little closer to his. Greg did not move his chair away. Their hands touched many times when they pointed at the book. At first, they quickly moved their hands, but soon their hands stayed together a little longer. A small spark, like a tiny electric current, passed between them. It made Stacy feel warm and excited. When Stacy made a mistake in math, Greg did not get angry. He smiled softly. "It's okay, Stacy," he said. His smile made her feel safe. When Stacy laughed at a joke, Greg laughed with her. His laughter was a happy sound. It filled the room. These small moments were not about math. They were about them. Their talks changed too. They still talked about math, but they also talked about other things. They talked about books they liked. They talked about their favorite colors. They talked about the sky outside the window. They shared small secrets. These talks made Stacy feel closer to him. She felt like he was not just her tutor. He was becoming more. One evening, it was getting dark outside. The light in the room was soft and low. Greg was explaining a problem. Stacy was sitting very close. She felt his arm touch hers. Then he put his arm around her. He gave her a small hug. It was a gentle hug, but it was not a tutor's hug. It was something new. Stacy felt her heart jump. She leaned into him for a moment. She felt safe and happy. They both knew this was not right for a student and a tutor. They knew they were breaking the rules. Not just the rules of the house, but other rules too. They knew this was a risk. But the new feelings were too strong to ignore. They pulled them closer and closer. Each small touch, each quiet smile made the connection deeper. They could not stop. Their relationship was changing fast. It was becoming a secret they both wanted to keep, a world just for them, outside of all the old rules. 6, our secret place. We started to meet in a new place. It was a park far from my house. My parents thought I was at the library reading books for school, but I was not. I was meeting Greg. This was our secret place. We began to meet there often. It felt exciting and a little bit dangerous, but mostly wonderful. Each time, I looked forward to seeing him away from the house. The first time we met there, the sun was warm. Greg brought me coffee in a paper cup. We walked slowly under the tall green trees. The leaves made soft shadows on the ground. For the first time, I felt truly free. I felt happy, like a bird flying high in the sky. It was a wonderful feeling. I was not the girl my parents wanted me to be. I was just Stacy myself. This place felt like a new world just for us. In the park, we talked for a long time. We shared many thoughts and feelings openly. I told him about my dreams for the future. I told him about my fears, too. He listened carefully to every word. He told me about his own life, his hopes, and his plans. We learned new things about each other. Our talks were open and honest. It felt good to share everything with someone who truly understood. One day, as we walked, Greg looked at me. His eyes were kind. "You are brave, Stacy," he said. "You know what you want in your life." I smiled at his words, but deep inside I felt a little scared. Our secret was big. It felt important, but also risky. I knew we were doing something my parents would never allow. We kept our secret safe for many weeks. Every time Greg came to my house for tutoring, I still waited for him by the window. I would wear my favorite dress, the one with small white flowers. I would fix my hair carefully. Then, when my parents were not looking, I would pretend to study hard. But my mind was always on our next secret meeting, our next walk in the park. We both knew our relationship was a big secret. We had to protect it very carefully. It was like a small, delicate flower that needed gentle hands. We understood that if anyone found out, there would be big problems. So we were very careful not to let anyone know about our time together. Our secret place was just for us, a place where we could be ourselves. But secrets are hard to keep forever. They do not always stay safe. One evening, like any other, Greg was at my house. We were talking, not studying. And then my father came home. He came home much earlier than usual. 7, a big problem. I did not hear the front door open. One moment, Greg and I were sitting close, talking softly. The next, a cold, sharp voice filled the room. It was my father. His face was red, his eyes wide with anger. "What is this?" he shouted. His voice was loud. Greg quickly stood up. He tried to speak, but my father did not let him. My father's anger was a big wave. It covered everything. Then my mother ran into the room. Her eyes were very wide, full of shock. She did not speak. She quickly pulled me away from Greg. Her hands felt cold on my arm. My father pointed to the door. "Leave," he told Greg, "and never come back here." Greg looked at my father. He opened his mouth again, but no words came out. My father's voice was much louder. "You are finished here," he said. Greg looked at me for a second, then turned and walked out the door. He did not look back. I felt a sharp pain in my chest. It felt like my heart broke. I ran to my room as fast as I could. I closed the door and fell onto my bed. Hot tears started to fall. I cried for a long time, maybe for the whole night. Outside my door, I could hear my parents talking. Their voices were angry, talking about me. They shouted for hours. They said I had made a big mistake. They told me I had ruined my future. They took away my phone. They said I could not go out. They took away my freedom. It felt like they took away everything important. My world was small before, but now it felt like nothing. The next morning, the sun was shining, but my room felt dark. The world outside looked the same, but for me, everything had changed. It felt empty and broken. My secret was gone. Greg was gone. My freedom was gone. I did not know what to do. 8, the last night. Weeks passed slowly. I still thought about Greg all the time. His face was in my mind when I studied. His voice was in my ears when I closed my eyes. My parents watched me carefully. My world felt small again, even smaller than before. But something inside me was different now. I had known freedom, and I wanted it again. One cold night, I decided to leave the house. My parents were asleep. I opened my window quietly and climbed out. I walked fast through the dark streets. My feet took me to our secret park. The air was cold and the big city lights were far away. I did not think I would see him. I just wanted to be in our place one last time. But then I saw him. He was sitting on our bench. He looked up at the sky. He did not see me at first. My heart beat fast. When he saw me, he stood up quickly. We did not speak for a long time. The wind blew around us. Then Greg spoke. "You should not be here, Stacy," he said softly. I smiled a little, but it was a sad smile. "We already broke the rules once," I answered. He looked at me then. His eyes showed a mix of sadness and care. It hurt to see him like that. He told me, "I will leave this town soon." I whispered back, "I know." I had heard it from a friend. We did not kiss. We did not hug. We just stood there looking at each other. We remembered everything we had and everything we could not have. It was a silent goodbye. There was nothing more to say. When I walked back home, I did not cry. My eyes were dry. I knew this was the end for us. Our time together was short, like a beautiful dream. But that night, the night we broke the rules, changed me forever. It was a powerful memory. Sometimes I still think about Greg. He was more than a math tutor. He taught me about many important things. He taught me about real love, which was new and strong. He taught me about making my own choices, even when they were hard. And he taught me that choices have results, good and bad. It was not easy to face these lessons. It hurt a lot to say goodbye to him, but I do not feel sorry that I loved him. Because for the first time in my life, I truly felt alive. I had learned to live for myself, not just for my parents' rules. This lesson stayed with me, strong and clear, like a light in the dark.